Yo, yo, this is Big Daddy Kane, and right now you are checking out Scoop B Radio.
Scoop B Radio in your airwaves, on the plane, on the train, everywhere you need to be. I am your host, Brandon Scoop B Robinson. You know it's official when it ain't no glass slippers. Big Daddy Kane joins us today on Scoop B Radio to talk all things hip hop, then and now. Brother, thank you for joining us.
Nah, my pleasure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I kind of want to start from the beginning. How did your time with the Juice Crew and working with Marl shape you as an artist?
Well, I would say, basically learning how to record and things of that nature because, in the beginning, I just started out as a battle rapper. And then all of a sudden, when I meet Biz, next thing you know, I'm actually on a real stage in front of an audience with the microphone, performing, not battling, but trying to entertain the audience. So that was like a change in experience for me. And then getting down with, the Juice Crew, I would say some of the greatest moments was, sharing a label with Kool G Rap, another amazing lyricist, who I feel like, I feel like we kept each other on our toes, and we kept our pen sharp because of, the lyricism. And then, it's like at that point in time, Marl was the super producer in hip hop. Mr. Magic was the voice of hip hop. And I'm entering into a crew where they both live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's real. You're often cited as a major influence on some of the biggest names in hip hop, like Jay-Z. What's it like to see your style, as well as I guess your lyrical approach reflected in the work on so many people?
I think that it's a blessing, because that's like going from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. So I guess the best way to put it is in the words of one of our great Negro poets from the 80s, known to the world as Big Daddy Kane. I may die one day, but my rhymes will remain like a hieroglyphic.
I like the way you quoted yourself. That kind of gave me like 2000s The Rock. The Rock says this. It's the man at SummerSlam. Like I like that.
My man.
I like that. Wrestling. How much do you think there is a crossover between wrestling personas on the mic and rappers on the mic? And if so, who comes to mind?
If I had to envision a rap artist as a wrestler,
Yeah.
I would say DMX, Jim Jones. That's a good question, but I mean, those would be, I guess, the first two that would come to mind.
Nah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because on a recent episode of Scoopy Radio, we actually talked with Jim Jones about that. He talked about Kamala. He talked about Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He talked about Hulk Hogan. He talked about The Rock. He talked about all those guys that he enjoyed watching on the mic. And he said that wrestling was something that he really got into, just seeing the persona of what those guys are.
No, I mean, I could believe that. I personally never really got into wrestling like that. And I think the only wrestler I ever really met was the Haiti Kid. But I remember reading that that was the influence for Muhammad Ali's antics.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what was his name, Pretty something, or some wrestler from the '60s that I guess Ali used to watch. So I mean, I can understand the impact.
No, that's real. And you've had impact yourself, Scoopy Radio, joined by the incomparable wordsmith and quote deliverer, Big Daddy Kane. Your albums, Long Live the Kane and It's a Big Daddy Thing, are considered classics. Can you walk us through the creative process for these projects?
Well, with Long Live the Kane, it was an introduction So there were so many things that I saw Biz do when he was recording, and I tried to adapt that formula, and try to follow the things that I had witnessed him do. And as far as like, finding the right production, or the crate digging, finding the right beats and things of that nature. And Marley, his house had such a warm, raw gutter sound that, production wise, he could bring it to life. Um, and I would say that, on Long Live the Kane, I talked about what I knew. I'm a kid from Brooklyn. I hadn't seen much, I don't know much about the world. So I talked about what I knew in Brooklyn. By the time we got to It's a Big Daddy thing, I had toured the world. I had discovered that, there were black, white, Latin, Asian fans. So many different cultures were into hip hop. Um, Women love hip hop as much as men do. So I learned a whole lot more. So I think that on that sophomore album, um, my views were a lot broader.
Well traveled, well versed, and just experience in life allowed you to weave in and out of this world and kind of see things. What kind of ties into my next question. You were known during your career specifically for your fashion and suave persona. How important was that element to your identity as an artist? And do you feel like it's still a significant part of hip hop culture today?
I mean, I feel like to some, because I mean, we live in a world now where whatever is trending, the majority follows. So if someone famous says keep it real or keep it gutter, then I don't think that, fashion is going to apply to their fan base. Um, but I know that back then, early on, I believe it was Rick James that said to me, you know, I don't ever want to look out in the crowd and see a mother effer dressed just like me, you know? And I mean, that stuck. Like, yeah, you don't, if you're there to entertain the crowd, you know what I'm saying? You want to look larger than life. So you don't want to look out in the crowd and see one or two people wearing the same thing that you got on, you know? So that was something that always stuck with me.
You drop that name, Rick James. I'll pick it up for you and take that and, and raise you this. You've worked with Barry White, you've worked with Quincy Jones. How did those collaborations one come about, and what did you learn from them?
Well, with Barry White, we actually met at a cookout at Quincy Jones' house,
Wow.
and we, got to chopping it up, and decided to do a song together. Quincy Jones, that was something that came through Warner Brothers. I believe that Benny Medina structured that, and when we got into the studio, we recorded a song called "Back on the Block." After we were done, Quincy asked me, "Can I come back the next day?" And I came back the next day, and he started talking about, my style and the rapid flow and how much it reminded him of Ella Fitzgerald. And he started explaining to me how Ella Fitzgerald was so unique with scatting because she didn't follow the piano or the bass like most jazz singers. She followed the horn section. That's why her style of scatting was so unique. And he was saying that mine's sounded like that. My fast rapping style sounded like that. And he asked me to do this other song called Tribute to Birdland, where I'm talking about Ella, Sarah Vaughan, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, and many others. And that day, it was just Quincy's style of production. I learned how to really dive into something and understand it, as opposed to just writing some lyrics and creating a song. Because he's like, what you know about, Sarah Vaughan. I'm like, not a goddamn thing, man. And he had them bring in something that I never knew existed. I'm like 21 years old, never knew that there were black encyclopedias until his assistant brought in about these 60 books with nothing but black history in it. and we're reading about Sarah Vaughan, reading about Ella Fitzgerald and all this. And then he's telling me, and such we used to call each other homeboy back in the 50s before y'all was doing it now. We were saying that back then, calling each other homeboy. And my nickname for such and such, he's giving me all these facts. So, I mean, it was like, I really felt like I was truly, truly produced. Wasn't like bring the beat up, let me rhyme. I was truly, truly produced, given instructions, direction, and things of that nature.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hearing you talk about that, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was one of my favorite shows growing up. And I remember that episode where Will's like, let me call my close personal friend, and Heavy D came out. And then let me call my close personal friend. Malcolm Jamal Warner came out, God rest his soul. God rest Heavy D's soul too. And let me call my close person, Kadeem Hardison came out like, man, you've lived a life.
I mean, life is good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 90s ushered in an era of gangster rap. And there was kind of a transition there. How did you navigate that as an artist?
Well, it was, a route that I, wasn't interested in taking. So I guess, I had to fall by the wayside, because there were some artists that, changed over, to start doing that. And then, there were a lot that, where like the hip hop audience moved on and now they wanted to, they wanted to be gangster. And I mean, it was cool. I mean, because there's a lot of that stuff that I really, really, enjoyed, music from, DOS Effects, Snoop, Ice Cube, Ghetto Boys, I mean, there's a lot of it that I really enjoyed, but I mean, it just wasn't my thing. That's not what I wanted to talk about. I feel that, when you're an artist, you signed up to make music for the people. Now, if you choose to be a role model, then that is your choice. I don't feel like it's an obligation because you can try to force someone to be a role model and they say something real stupid or ignorant and make us all look bad.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, so it's not an obligation, it should be a choice. And that's a choice that I made. I made a choice to be a role model. And I just didn't see, gangster rap as being the thing that I wanted to promote to my audience.
Did it affect your artistic direction?
I wouldn't say that it affected my artistic direction. I would say that it affected the fan base because it's like, as they're moving on or moving into a different direction, I wasn't willing to go that route.
No.
So it made me lose a lot of fans. And plus, I had a lot of songs that were for the ladies as well. So, made a lot of them, feel like, oh, he on some soft stuff, he making songs for girls. But I mean, when you come off stage and it's the end of the night, I'd rather be girls there than men, so ain't bother me none.
Do you feel like Drake and LL Cool J studied your playbook?
Well, LL came up before me, so I probably studied some of LL playbook when I was a new artist. Matter of fact, I even remember performing Rock the Bells at my high school talent show. So I probably followed some of LL's playbook. But and with Drake, I don't know. Because I mean, we're so many generations apart.
Sure.
So I don't know if Drake even knows who I am. When I met J. Cole, J. Cole told me that, he had never heard of me. He grew up off of Jay-Z and Tupac. But when he was listening to Jay-Z and he heard references about me, it made him go back and listen to find out who I was. And he was like, oh, wow, this dude was dope. You know what I'm saying?
It does. And it's interesting you bring that up because in hip hop, a lot of times they say nothing is new under the sun. I remember when Cameron came out with that song where he said, I'm not a writer, I'm about, where he took all of the Jay-Z songs and kind of mashed them up against each other. And your song, Come Get Some, You Little Bum, came from Excuse Me Again from Jay. Was that line that Jay used in that song, was that actually a conversation that you guys had, or is it just a salute to, I guess,
Yeah,
creative
it was
control.
just Jay paying homage.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just Jay paying homage. He does that a lot. With my lines, with Biggie lines. He pays homage.
No, that's real. That's real. Um, yeah, I think that's interesting. Is there any artist that's out today that you look at and you're amazed by their level of creativity? And does it take you back to a time when you were coming up?
Right now, I would say Lady London. I think that she's an amazing lyricist, very, very fashionable, um, has a unique style, and this real dope cockiness. Um, and most importantly, her ass and breasts ain't out, but she still make people pay her attention. So I mean, yeah, she would probably be one of the main ones. I guess they're not together anymore, but I used to love watching the Migos because it's like wherever you seen these dudes, they was fly. These dudes stayed fly. Like you listen to the stuff they talking about, you wouldn't expect them to be dressing the way they dress, but yeah, they clean up nice, man. Them dudes, yeah, they put it on. So I used to always love watching the Migos whenever they were on something.
Hey, let me ask you a question. When Lauryn Hill came out with The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill as a solo album, the way you felt about Lady London,
Uh-huh.
how did you feel about Lauryn Hill when she was doing her solo career?
it was mixed feelings. Um, it was like, oh my goodness, this album is phenomenal. This album is a masterpiece. This is something like, songs in the key of life, like this album is so amazing. Like, Lauryn Hill murdered this, man. But at the same time, I was like, we get ready to lose her. She's not gonna rap no more. She's gonna just sing now. From now on, I want to hear some bars because she's so fire on the mic. I want to hear some lyrical bars. But I'm like, yeah, I think she's just gonna become a full-fledged singer. I don't think that she's gonna do too much hip hop much longer. You know? Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. She's an amazing singer. So I mean, either way she go, I mean, she gonna she. I felt like she gonna kill the game. But just personally, I wanted to hear her rap because she got bars.
Yeah, she was versatile.
Yeah, man, amazing.
Versatile. Scoopy Radio joined by Big Daddy Kane, talking hip hop, talking fashion, talking culture. It's all encompassing here. Make sure to subscribe to Scoopy Radio on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube as well. Kane, many people point to your versus battle with KRS-One
Hmm.
as a major moment in hip hop history. What was that experience like, and what did it mean to you to share that stage with a longtime friend?
I mean, it was fun, man. Uh, Me and Chris, we have so much history. That's like my brother, and I've always looked at him and respected him as a great battle rapper. He understands the art of battle rap,
Mhm.
you know, and he's one of the greatest lyricists ever. So for us to be able to get it on, and we going banger for banger, and we spitting bars, I just felt like this was an amazing hip hop moment where you got to see hip hop in its truest and rarest form. And also, we had our b-boys there as well, breaking on stage. So we tried to incorporate as many of the elements of hip hop that we could in one night.
What is one versus battle that never happened that should have happened?
I guess a few interesting ones that I probably would have loved to seen would have been Little Kim and Foxy, uh, LL and Busta Rhymes. You know, yeah, I would have loved to seen them. I mean, but that's just me personally speaking. You
Sure,
know,
sure. We just talking.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Lil Kim and Foxy too. I think they were in an era of their own lane and in an era of comparison before the social media era existed.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
What would Kim and Foxy look like in the social media era?
In a social media era, I don't think that it would have been as exciting or as much fun because there's too much power that goes to the viewers. You know, there's too much power that goes to the viewers. Um, like the verses would have been dope because it doesn't matter after that, it doesn't happen, and it's like you just stating your opinion afterwards. But what they were going through back in the '90s, for them to do that now, it could have been detrimental to one of their careers, and I think it would have brought out too many negative views because you have the access of this phone or whatever, and everybody's fact checking this, fact checking that, and just not enjoying the moment. Where two artists is going at each other, they dissing each other, and just doing what hip hop do. You know, I mean, when you think back to like back in 1982 when Kumo D battled Busy B, nobody was fact checking what was said. It was just a dope battle, man. It was just a dope battle. LL and Kumo D and Nas and Jay Z. You know, and you just enjoyed it for what it was. It didn't matter whether it was Jay was telling the truth, whether Nas was telling the truth. It didn't matter what they did in their personal life. Just, about MCing, man.
Living through Jay and Nas and then seeing Kendrick Lamar and Drake, where do you draw the line in competition?
I don't understand the question. Where do I draw the line?
It, both of those battles seem personal,
Hmm.
but the difference between Jay and Nas and Kendrick and Drake is that Kendrick's song was a diss track that became a platinum hit. And he performed it at the Super Bowl, and it gave people the power or gave him the power to create a narrative. Similarly, like Jay and Nas, but I feel like the difference is social media, and the difference is a Super Bowl halftime show. When you having lived through both of those experiences, how do those two examples compare and contrast in your mind as an artist?
Um, I mean, it's like the thing with Kendrick, it's like because of direction wise, we're in this battle direction wise where Drake was going, direction wise where Kendrick was going, it kind of made you feel like hip hop won. What I mean by that is like Drake has amazing commercial success, you know? So it's like you kind of expect that's going to overshadow Kendrick. But here he comes with the diss track and, keeping it gutter. And as you said, the gutter appeal is what ended up, being this, such a big seller and performing at the Super Bowl. Like you'd have told me back in the '80s that one year somebody gonna do a diss track at the Super Bowl, I'd have called you a liar. So that'll never ever happen.
Yeah,
You know. So I mean, I feel like in that particular case, I felt like hip hop won.
yeah, yeah. You did some acting in your career. You were in Posse and you were in Meteor Man. Do you prefer the big screen versus the stage? Which do you like?
Um, I guess right now I would probably say, the big screen, but it's different. because in music, you jump up on stage, you do what you got to do in 45 minutes to an hour or whatever, and then you go on. And in film, it's like that hurry up and wait thing where you got to go through makeup and wardrobe and all that this stuff, and then you're just sitting around for like 3 hours, and repeating the same thing over and over, until they feel like they got the right take. So like the process is not that fun, but when you finally see the finished product, then it's amazing. you
Mhm,
know
mhm. What are your thoughts on the evolution of hip hop the last few decades? Are there any current artists who you feel are carrying on the legacy of the golden age or lyricism?
yeah, there are a few artists I feel like it's carrying on, you know I guess, the true hip hop culture. um Lady London being one, J. Cole being another, Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher, um, Joey Badass. Yeah. Oh, you know who else I like? What's that kid? Is it Akeem? Am I saying it right?
Yes,
Akeem, right? Akeem Ali.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me something. That viral clip where you're on the stage and you drop the mic and everybody pauses and you blow the mic off and then you continue to rap. Was that staged or did you really drop the mic by accident?
That was staged.
I figured.
Yeah, it was staged.
That was some slick shit.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, yeah. That was something we used to do on stage that particular year, and then next thing you know, the internet took over and we couldn't do it no more because everybody has seen it.
Last question. You've been recognized with the Grammy and numerous Lifetime Achievement Awards. What does your legacy mean to you, and what do you hope to be remembered for?
Well, I mean, in actuality, man, hey, it's a blessing to be remembered. That alone. But as far as me, I mean, Grammys or all that this stuff, that don't mean nothing to me. What means the world to me is for someone to come up and say, "Yo, man, your music got me through college. Your music, um, I listened to through my whole pregnancy. Your music got me through Desert Storm." That's what means the world to me. That and whatever you was going through when you was listening to Big Daddy Kane, you felt good or you felt safe. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I obviously knew who you were. We bumped into each other at the airport, exchanged numbers. When I was in college and I was DJing and announcing basketball games in college, your music and your catalog was with me, and it bridged eras. So I'm appreciative because I actually did listen to you in college. While I heard it from my cousins and my aunts and my uncles who were older, I was actually able in my dorm room when I was putting together my set for games and then playing it. And then, being a fan of Jay-Z and seeing those parallels and all those different things, I was able to put that all together just from listening to you in college.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad to be a part, brother.
That part, that part. Brother, you off the hot seat. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And this interview was good, brother. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, peace.